Okay, hello everyone. In the final exam to take the coding evaluation test, as like as the midterm, on D12 you need to go to the assessment section, then from the exams quizzes, choose final exam coding evaluation. Then in this page you need to click on the start quiz button. You will see only one question. There is a link to a zip file. You need to click on the zip file. The zip file actually contains the real questions. So open the folder that the zip file is downloaded and stored. Right click on the zip file and extract the zip file. When you do that, the zip file will be extracted and you can see the content in a new window. Close this window, come back to this original window and delete the zip file to avoid further confusion. Then open Visual Studio Code. And from the File menu, choose Open Folder and go to the place that you stored the extracted files. Choose the folder and then select the folder. Now you see some CSS and HTML and JPEG files or picture files. This PDF file actually contains the actual questions. In the final exam, you will see 3 questions. Let's go to this folder and open this PDF file using Acrobat Reader. Make sure that you have Acrobat Reader on your computer. Okay, as I explained before, we need to answer 3 questions. A question about designing the table, a question about naming or displaying and hiding something, and a question about responsive design. Let's focus on the first question, designing a table. In this question, it asks you to design a table like this. You need to create 2 files, one.html and one.css. It says you need to create the files from scratch. That means there is no such a file in the folder, and you see there is no one.html and one.css file. So we in Visual Studio Code, click on New File button and type one.html and then another file, one.css. In the one.html file, we type an exclamation mark. Visual Studio Code pop-ups in snippets. We press enter and Visual Studio Code generates a template of an HTML file for us. In the head section, we need a link tag, so we just type a link and then we press the tab key. Visual Studio Code automatically converts the text to corresponding appropriate HTML tag. We need a link tag, the relationship is the style sheet file, and the source of the file that we want to link to this page is one.css. Okay, now we want to generate a table like this one. So you need to decide how many logical columns and logical rows does this table have? So to have a better idea, let's open Microsoft Word. In the Microsoft Word, I am going to create a table, a 4x4 table. Why? Because I want to create something like this. You see, here, this cell, to create this cell, actually we need to merge these two rows. So let me merge it. Merge cell. And to create the second cell, also we need to merge these two cells. And to create this one, we need to merge these two cells. Okay, so consequently, we see that we need to create a 4x4 logical table with some special condition. To create a table, we use a table HTML tag. Here, based on what we saw in the Word file, we need to create 4 rows. After creating the table, we need to define its rows. So to create a row, we need a tr tag. Since the table has 4 rows, we need 4 tr tags. Like this. After creating rows, we need to define cells. To create cells, we have 2 options, using th tags or using td tags. We use th tags to define header cells. We use td tags to define data cells or footer cells, normal cells. Here, this cell and this cell, actually let's look at this. This cell, this one, this one, this one, and this one are header cells. So we create cells using th tag. In the first row, we have 3 cells. This one, and this one. So we need 3 th tags. The content of each cell must be defined in the content section of the element. So here I type first title, second title, and third title. Let's preview the page here on the Explorer. I right click on the file 1.html, and from the pop-up menu I choose show preview. If you can't see this option, that means you haven't installed Live Preview extension. So you need to go to the extension tab, type search for Live Preview like this, and then click the install button. This is already installed, so we don't see such an option. Then we come back to Explorer page, and right click on the file and click on the show preview button so we can see the result. Now we created 3 cells, but these 3 cells are not normal cells. The first and the second cells actually occupy 2 rows. So we need to tell the browser that the first cell and the second cell should occupy 2 rows. To do that, in the opening tag, we add row span attributes. Row span 2 means the cell should occupy 2 rows. We do the same thing for the second th tag. Row span 2. And the third cell occupies two columns. To do that, in the opening tag, we use colspan attribute. Colspan. 2 means the cell should occupy two columns. Okay. Now let's create the second row. In the second row, this place is already occupied by the cell from the previous row. This part is already occupied by the cell from the previous row. We just need to define these two cells. So in the second row, I add two th tags. Subtitle 1, subtitle 2, subtitle 1, subtitle 2. Okay. In the third row, we need to define 4 simple data cells. So here I type td value and I copy and paste the cell 3 more times. Are these cells normal cells or they have specific conditions? Do they have any specific conditions? Other than that, all of them occupies only one row and one column. So they are a normal cell. We don't need to touch their row span and column span attribute. Okay. And the last cell is actually the same thing. So I copy these codes for the last row. Now we provided the content. Each table may have a caption. Each table may have a caption. In this example, we didn't ask you to add a caption for your table. But in the exam, if we asked you to add a caption for your table, you just need to add a caption tag inside the table tag. This is the table caption. Okay. A table tag can contain 3 regions: header region, data region, and footer region. A header region, data region, or the body of the table, and a footer region. If you don't add those regions inside your HTML code, you will not see any difference in the look of the page. They don't create any visual effect on your page. But it's good to define those regions because it is our work when we want to style our table. It is our work when we want to style our table. Okay, so let's define those regions. T-head tag is used to define the table header region. So I started T-head tag here and close it after defining the second row. Why? Because these 2 rows actually construct the header of our page. we use tBody tag to define the body of the table, like this one. And I put these 2 rows in the tBody tag because these 2 rows are the body of my table. In this question, the table doesn't have a footer. The table doesn't have a footer. We don't see a footer here. But let's add a footer because we want to solve the most complex questions that you can see in the exam. So here, I add a tfoot tag and define a row consisting 4 cells. Let's say footer, footer, now let's style our page. To style our page, we go to the CSS file and we say head section, the background color should be something like this. Oh, it's orange, so let's say orange. In the exam, when I don't mention the color, you don't need to find the exact same color. You just need to choose a different color for that section. Okay, so we see that using the thead, tbody, and tfooter tags helps us to style the table in much easier way. And to style the tbody section, we say the background color should be this one. It's lighter than this one, so. And for the footer section, then let's style the table. In the question, it says that the table must be horizontally centered in browsers. To center an element, we have some options. If the element is a block element, we can simply type margin auto. Margin auto center a block element inside its parent. Centers the block element horizontally inside its parent. Using the margin attribute, you can specify the gap between the element and its surrounding element. When you set auto, it means you want the same amount of the gap from the right side gap must be the same as the left side gap. So in another word, that means this element must be in the center of its parent. Okay.
we see that cells have border in this question. So to define the borders, we can say TD tag should have border. The width of the border should be 1 pixel. Its type should be solid, and its color should be gray. You know, we have different options. Solid means we want to use solid lines for borders. We need to define the same rule for TH tags for the cells in the header section. You can repeat this rule one more time, or you can use group selector technique. In group selector, you can type several selector and put a comma between them, and then define one rule block. We use that technique here. So TD comma TH. Now I said that for the selectors TD and TH, I want to define the same rule. But there is gap between cells. To solve this problem, in the table, we say we use border collapse. Collapse attribute. And here we have two options, collapse or separate. By default, its value is separate. That's why we see each cell has its own separate border. But we want to share the border, so we change it to collapse. Now the gap between cells are gone. And I just increase the width of the table to make it more nicer, this view. Okay, now let's do something more sophisticated, like coloring the last column in the data section. Coloring the last column in the data section. So we should say that in the data section, we want to choose some TD tags, but not all of them. The TD tags, which are the last children of its parent. So we use the pseudo element technique. Pseudo elements are phrases that are added to a selector and allows us to select elements based on certain condition. So after typing the selector, we put colon, and we use one of those pseudo elements. Here, we say last child. Select TD tags which are last child for its parent. I say background color, say this one. Oh, in T-body. In the T-body section, choose TD tags, not all of them. Choose the TD tags which are the last children of their parent. Look at this HTML code. We want to select this TD tag and this TD tag. We see that this TD tag is the last child of its parent. What is the parent of this TD tag? The TR tag. The TR tag is the parent of these 4 elements. What is the parent of this TR tag? T-body. Good job. And the parent of T-body tag is what? Is what? Is table. T-head and T-foot are the siblings of the T-body tag. Here, the sibling of these elements are this tag, this tag, this tag, and this tag. All TD tags in one TR tag are siblings. Question: how many children does the table tag have in this code? The answer is 4. The caption tag, the head tag, the body tag, and the T-foot tag. Okay, here we could choose the last child of a TR tag. Let me copy and paste these rows several times. Now assume in the data region, we want to change the background color of even rows. The background color of even rows. So to do so, in the stylesheet file, we say that in T-body region, select TR tags, but not all of them. The TR tags which are in the even rows. We have another pseudo element called nth child that allows us to select an element based on a formula, a mathematical formula. And you type the formula based on n. For example, when you say 2n, assume n is the index of the element. 2n means all even rows. 2n. 2n generates even number. If you are good in mathematics, you know that 2n generates all even numbers. By replacing n with any natural number, you can generate all even numbers. If you type 3n, actually you can choose the elements who are multiplicative of 3. You see, every How do you say in English? One of every 3 rows is selected. Don't know. I copied TR rows, TR tags, because I wanted to generate more rows. I copied TR rows with its content, which includes the TD tags. Again, in the T-body region. It's not important. I just want to have more rows. But there is a simple way. Instead of using a mathematic formula, you can just type even to select the even elements. Or you can just type odd to select odd elements. This is the most complex question that someone can give you about tables. In the final exam, you will implement part of this question, like what you saw in the question. But I may ask you to use this kind of pseudo elements, last child, nth child, or first child. Okay. In the second question, it says you are given an HTML and a CSS file named 2.html and 2.css, respectively. Currently, the web page looks like blue. Apply the following changes. By default, the submenu must be hidden. Submenu means this one. Let's open the second HTML page and preview it. As we see, we have something like this. As you know, when we want to implement a menu, the professional way is to create a list of hyperlinks, like what you see here. But you have a list, but you don't see hyperlinks because the menu is not functional. If you want to make a functional menu, you need to replace the simple text with hyperlinks. When you click on those hyperlinks, your user will be redirected to a different page and you will do the required action in another page. Okay. Now we want to hide the submenu. We look at the code and see that the parent element of the submenu, this is our submenu, and this is its parent, has a specific class nested. So to select the submenu, we can say select UL tags, but not all of them. Select UL tags which are in an element with the class nested. Look at the code. Let me close the extra stuff. Li is the parent of UL tag, and it has a class. And the class name is nested. So here in the HTML code, we say nested UL display none, because we said that at the beginning we want to hide it. But paying more attention to this CSS file, because sometimes I will give you a CSS file containing some codes, because I don't want you to implement everything from the beginning. I want you just to complete a code to make it simpler for you. We see that there is a rule with the same selector. So instead of defining a new rule, I add this rule to the previous rule. Now, I didn't define a new one with this selector. I just added what I wanted to the current rule. Okay. The first part is done. It was pretty simple. You just need to select the element, the correct element. The submenu must be shown whenever a user moves his or her mouse over the item containing the submenu. So we should select the submenu in certain states. What is the state? The state is the mouse is hovering over it. Okay. So here we say that, again, select the submenu. Our submenu UL tag. Then the mouse is hovering over its parent. When the mouse is hovering over its parent, which means nested.hover, select the UL tag. So to say, select UL tag, which is inside the nested element in a special condition, with a special condition, when the mouse is hovering over it, not in all the cases. So, and the last one, you are giving an HTML and a CSS file named 3.html and 3.css, respectively. Try to make it similar to the following design when the screen size is less than 500 pixels. When you see the question asks you to design something based on the screen size, that means you need to use media tag, media query. Okay. There are some options. Let's first of all preview this page. We have this one. In the CSS, we say media, @media. That means we are going to define a region for special conditions. And the condition is max width equals 500 pixels. That means the rules defined in the section must be applied on the page when the maximum width of the screen is 500 pixels. Or in another word, the screen size is less than 500 pixels. Okay. Let's see. Here we see that the background is black. So when you want to style your page, always start from the element which cover the most of other elements. And in the HTML code, the body tag covers every other element. So we start with the body tag. Body, background color, black. And I decrease the screen size because I want to see the change. The rules that I wrote here affects the page when the screen size is less than 500 pixels. Okay. After that, we should find the next largest element. Here is the NAV tag. NAV tag defines our menu. So do we need to do anything with the NAV tag? For now, seems that we don't need to change it. Okay. So I don't do anything with that. The next element in the menu region is UL tag. Again, I don't see any need to change it for now. The next element is LI tag. I may want to change it, but for now, I don't see anything. The next element is A tag. A tags creates this hyperlinks. For sure, I need to change it. Okay, so I say A tags, which are inside NAV tag, should follow this rule. First of all, we don't want text decoration. Text decoration. We set the text decoration to none. Always when you want to create a menu, you should change the text decoration of A tags to none. And the color is gray, so I change the color to gray. And I change the background color to light gray. Okay. Here, the menu options occupy the width of the screen. But in my design, they don't. What should I do? Let's say width equals 100%. But it didn't work. Why? Because A tags are inline elements. If you remember, we have two types of elements, block elements and inline elements. Inline elements occupy the space that is needed for their content. You see here, links only occupy the space that is needed for their content, which is the title of the link. But you can add anything before and after the inline tags. Block elements occupy the width of their parent, and you cannot add anything before and after them horizontally. So here I should change the display type of the element to block element. Now, A tags occupy the width of the screen. Now I need to move the text into the center of the element. So I type text align center. Okay. In the question, I see there is some gap between options. Now, I have several options. I can add margin to a tag to add those gaps like this, or I can add padding to the parent of A tags, which are LI tags. And also, I see the height of menu options is much more than what I have here. So here I say line height, say 30 pixel. And actually the background color is dark gray. Something like that. Okay. And I don't see this text. Why? Because probably the text color is black. I changed the text color to white. Okay, now I see I should change the text align to center. And now I see I should modify the width of this picture. In the HTML code, I see the picture has an ID, main pic. So in the CSS, I say the item whose ID is main pic should follow this rule. Width equals 100% of its parent. Like this. I want to explain how to create a menu with much more detail. In the exam, I will not ask you to implement such a menu from scratch. But since creating a menu is required skill for a web developer, I want to go over the detail of this topic one more time here in person. So let me create a new page for that HTML. Again, by typing an exclamation mark and pressing enter, Visual Studio Code creates a template for us. For sure, we need to link a style sheet file. So let's say for that CSS, we said that to implement a menu, we create a list of hyperlinks. List means UL tag. Items of a list are defined by using LI tags. So inside each LI tag, we put a link, an A tag. So assume we want to redirect the user to the page 01.html. If user clicks on this item, assume we have 3 more options. Okay. Assume I want to create a horizontal menu. A horizontal menu. Let's put this menu inside an NAV tag. Okay. Here I say my menu should follow this rule. Say background color, orange. Now I want to show the menu options horizontally next to each other. We define each item inside li tags, and li tags are block elements. That's why these items are shown underneath of each other, because li tags are block elements. We need to change them if we want to show the elements next to each other. So here I say in the NAV region, li tag, their display type should be changed. If you change them to inline, they only occupy the space needed for their content. Like this. Now, also I want to remove this gap at the beginning of the menu. In the NAV UL, I set the margin to 0 pixel and padding to 0 pixel to remove any gaps created by UL tag. Okay. Now I say in the NAV, A tags should not have any decoration. Their display type should be inline block. Inline block allows us to specify widths for the item and allows us to put something before and after the item horizontally. Here I say background color, say red. I change the width to 100 pixel. I say text align center. And here for the li tag, I add some padding. Now I want to change the status of these hyperlinks when the mouse is hovering over them. So here I say select A tags when the mouse is hovering over them and change the background color, for example, to pink. Now, when the mouse is hovering over them, their background color is changed. So this is a simple horizontal menu without any submenu. Without any submenu. Okay, let's add a submenu, for example, for the third option. To do that, in the content region of the third li tag, in the content region, after the A tag, you need to define a new list of hyperlinks. Assume the submenu has 3 options. Okay. The submenu should have another sets of rule. So I need to have a way to select the submenu. One way to select the submenu is through its parent. So I add a class for its parent. And choose a name for the class. Here I choose submenu. Now, using its parent class, I can select this submenu. So here I say at the beginning, in the element whose class is submenu, select the UL tag and set its display to none, because at the beginning we wanted to hide it like this. Now, when the mouse is hovering over this option, we want to show it. So we should say when the mouse is hovering over this class, choose the UL tag and change in its display property to block because we want to see it. But it ruins the design. Why? Because the submenu is part of a normal flu. So we need to change it. We need to take out the submenu from the normal flu. So we say position should be, for example, absolute. Now it is taking out from the normal flu. It's ignored in the normal flu, so it doesn't affect the normal flu of the page.